spells out like these are the pages you're going to have, this is the time frame, you know, the next 2 months, this, and this, launch date, Google Analytics date, and so forth. So I draft that, give it to you as a draft, let you slash things, cut things, and paste things, and stuff like that before we do any moving forward. So.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me talk. I really enjoy talking about websites and stuff like that. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guess we move on to fiscal officer.
Excuse me. Approved minutes from the Board of Trustees work session, February 11th.
I need to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Hartshorn.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
Approved minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting, February 11th.
So moved.
Second.
Mears.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Hartshorn.
Yes.
Approved minutes from the Board of Trustees work session, March the 6th.
Were the spelling corrections made to
Yes.
written? Okay. And so moved.
A second.
Quinn. Hartshorn. I'm sorry. Hartshorn.
Yes.
Mears.
Abstain.
Approved payment of bills, 34990 to 35061, including the electronic payments and vouchers.
I need to accept the payments for this month.
Second.
Hartshorn.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Approved supplemental appropriation for the general fund for the travel and meeting expenses for $989.
So moved.
A second.
Quinn.
Yes.
Hartshorn.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
And if you could sign this, here is the blanket certificate. Jason, do you want to discuss the next resolution? That's what we said.
Well, I have some stuff to reorganize a little bit.
Okay.
I think I'd like to set up a working session to discuss what was presented today as well as what I've researched. I was basically looking for 2 years worth of just general hosting with a very basic website provided. And then with a long-term plan of finding someone to develop and maintain a website for the township so that IT knowledge wasn't required. That seems to be brought to the forefront, so thank you for that. I'd like to move that we set up a working session to go through the material presented today, as well as the material that I've researched and figure out what our next steps are.
Would you like to select a date now?
Sure. Excuse me 1 second. Calendar. Are the trustees available around the 23rd of March?
Monday, yeah.
Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock
4 o'clock.
on the 23rd?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 4 o'clock, 23rd of March.
March 23rd, 4 o'clock. March 28th, I received from Speedway that the due date will be adjusted from 25 days to 20 days. I paid that bill online because it was not arriving on time. That's just to let you know the adjustment in the date. Brookville and New Lebanon Fire EMS reports in the trustees folder for review. The Miami Valley Regional Planning Committee annual spring dinner is Thursday, April 16th. You need to RSVP by March 27th. The DP&L rebate for the LED lights have been received here for the $16. I reached out to them. There must have been some sort of error processing that. The road department installed a new door handle on the meeting room entry door. The Horsemen Association has a key to enter for their meetings. The cattlemen will receive a key in April. I did create a document to be signed by the president of the organization who will be responsible for the keys. If any of you would like to see, this is what I had them sign for the Horsemen Association. Wolf Creek Bridge will be closed south of Heater Road between Heater and Diamond Mill April 1st till July 31st. I'm sure that's weather depending as well. NCTA meeting is March 18th at the Montgomery County Business Center from 3:30 to 5. John Morris, from the president of the MCTA, stated at the Clay and German Township Trustees meetings a change in the MCTA meeting dates, time, and asked the FO to send a list of vendors within the township. Mr. Morris' intent is to reach out to those vendors that we do business with and ask if they would support, sponsor the mission and events of the Montgomery County Township Association. Ms. Godsey, the vice president, who is a Harrison Township trustee, she spoke at the Perry Township trustee meeting but did not mention the vendor list. Mr. Morris sent out an email reminding all the entities to submit the vendor list, so I contacted Mr. Morris and asked him to explain and how will the donations by vendors help events of the MCTA. Will the revenue offset the cost of the banquet meal, OTA, and MCTA memberships? Mr. Morris stated essentially the answer is yes to all the questions. Currently, the MCTA has no funds. If in the future we gather resources through supporters and sponsors, we would let township officials attend events such as convention or our gala at lower cost, reduce or eliminate dues, add scholarships, anything the members would choose to do with the resources. So I reached out to the German Township FO, Mark Keener, on his thoughts regarding the vendor list. Mark Keener reached out to Mark Heiston, the incoming FO for German Township, and Mark made a very good statement. If John Morris achieves his goal of getting township vendors to make donations so that MCTA members can attend events at a lower cost or even free, I think that would potentially bump up against the prohibition of officials receiving gifts from vendors. So what are you trustees' thoughts on that? I do not think last night at the German Township meeting, Jason, you were there as well. I don't think that was brought up again. I don't think they're going to submit a vendor list. Not that we have a lot of vendors though, but.
So it's basically like an industry day kind of a thing where they have the vendors come in, vendors pay an entry fee. Is that what they were talking about?
It's getting vendor support within our community, and then
Gotcha.
that money,
Okay.
that revenue generated will help to offset like the OTA.
Say they will go to our vendors and ask for money. I would think. That's like me
And I
giving,
don't- And I thought Mark from German Township had a good point there. You're receiving gifts. If this is something that would generate a large amount of revenue to help offset the OTA conference, like our hotel, our membership of, the dues, what was we had to pay. I think you're accepting gifts from vendors. I think that gets into the ethics law.
I think that's a gray area, because given the source of the money, then are we expected to support those vendors in return?
I have not reached back out to John Morris. I believe he's a trustee from Miami Township or Washington, one of them two. I know German Township was not going to participate with that.
I think.
Yeah, I agree. No.
Okay. I received 2 complaints on trash issues, throwing the trash cans. I email addressed that with the drivers. And a resident near the village of New Lebanon corporation limits regarding the quarterly price for trash removal. Perry charges $52 a quarter, where New Lebanon charges $38.10 per quarter. So I contacted Grumpy, did a records request on New Lebanon for the trash rate, and returned the call to the resident with the information received. She was appreciative of the return call with all the information, and she understands that she's just like the next step into the village of New Lebanon. It helped her to realize, you know, our boundaries of Perry Township were not next to each other, so she did appreciate that. The Fiscal Integrity Act for my term, April 1st to 16th through March 31st of 2020. The hours required are 12 hours. The hours I achieved over those 4 years is 60.25. And I did complete the Sunshine training and the Public Records training here, so my certificate in 17 and 19, if anybody would like to see that. There was something on Facebook regarding that, so I'll pull that. I do have out there, Jason, by you, the appropriation payment register and the revenue ledger for January of 2020 compared to Clay Township's financial statements, but that is something for the website that you're interested in uploading. I know Fred Limbert puts his financial statement on there, so I'll put those in the trustees folder drawers to review and see if that is something that you would like on a monthly basis, to put in the trustee file drawer for you to review, or if you want to see some other reports as well. I also have created, and speaking with Nathaniel, this has been brought to my attention about a medical waiver, which we do not have in our policy handbook. So I reached out to the county, since we are an affiliate of the Montgomery County Healthcare Insurance, and received their medical waiver attachment. I also had to tweak it a little bit to support Perry Township, and I sent it to Nathaniel, who stated, this looks fine. Looks good, let me know if you need anything else. We have several employees that have opted to stay with the spouse's insurance and not take the township insurance. For an employee only, for their medical insurance, is $639.07 a month, plus an $8.59 admin fee. For a single employee, they pay monthly $71.28. So the township pays $6,916.56. And then it goes on to employee with children, employee and spouse, or a family plan. Would you trustees consider a waiver credit to an employee that would stay on the spouse's medical insurance?
So if someone is opting not to take the township insurance, we're going to give them whatever.
And this is what the county, $57.50 for an employee only, $90 for an employee plus children, $100 employee plus spouse, or $120 for a family.
That's what the county does?
That's what the county pays monthly to the employee.
And it's less than what the payment for the health insurance is, correct?
Well, if an employee, the township would be paying $6,960 a year for a year, but this employee only takes $57.50 times 12. Probably your biggest one is for a family plan. The township would pay $19,245.84. So that $120 for a family is a lot cheaper. And you can adjust those numbers as well if you want to go a little bit higher. I didn't know if that was something you wanted to review further or make a motion tonight on that. or any questions?
I'd like to review further, since I've never heard of a company or anywhere that pays somebody not to take the health insurance.
This is the county plan that I pulled it from.
Yeah,
Like
no, I know, I'm just not familiar with that, but I think if somebody opts not to take the health insurance, that's their choice. And why are we paying them?
When I worked at CTP, that was our choice, and the same way with Brookville.
Really?
You got a stipend at the end of the year if you didn't take the insurance.
Do we have to take the stipend if we opt not to take the insurance? If there's an employee that doesn't want it, does the county mandate that Jason Hartshorn has opted not to take the insurance for his family, so he's going to get paid $120 a month?
It's up to you trustees on, if you just want this for the road, police, zoning department, full-time.
Right.
And then the trustees and me opt out of it. We would not receive anything. This would just be for the departments.
Or, well, I guess then for any of the departments as well. I mean, that's the question is, if the departments choose not to take it, do they have to? I don't know anyone that wouldn't want to take the money, but if they're given that choice, because the township right now is not really in a position to pay all that.
Well, where it's getting at, with the insurance where it's at, it's like family plans. If somebody was hired on and their spouse had insurance somewhere else, it either would cost the township $20,000 or $1,400. I guess that's where it's going.
So it'll save the township money in the long run.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what they were
Yeah.
saying, is 6,000 is what they pay for employee only, which they would only be getting 50 a month. So it saves a considerable amount of money, 19,000 for the full family plan, whereas
Whereas we could pay for a person $1,440, and they'll keep their insurance that they currently have, or they'll come on the township's insurance, which will cost $19,245 for a family plan.
I think it's smart.
The only suggestion I have is I would make it 60 for an employee only and 120 for married.
Would you say 60?
60 for an employee, a single,
No.
and 120 for everybody else. I mean, because you got an employee and child, employee and spouse, and then
Right.
family.
Right.
So why don't you just make it 60 and 120?
Now, of course, if anybody has Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, or CareSource, they are not eligible for the waiver credit of classified as double dipping.
If their spouse has insurance, we still offer them insurance if they want it?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yep, I have TRICARE, and when I came in, I declined the health insurance because I have TRICARE.
Right.
So then Chief would not be eligible because TRICARE is one of those that be classified as double dipping.
It's government backed.
Government, yeah.
Right.
And also, I would put in there that it's a one-time deal when you come in, not,
Going back and forth.
not going back and forth.
Okay.
And it's only for full-time employees, it's not for
Correct.
trustees.
Right.
Okay, good.
Full-time employees only is what I'd recommend.
Because I didn't understand that if someone was covered by their spouse, they could still get insurance for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So are you good?
We can go ahead and vote then.
Okay, I make a motion that we take Ms. Mears' suggestion, update the amounts, 60 for employee and 120 for every other listing there.
And second?
Second.
Hartshorn,
Yes.
Mears,
Yes.
Flynn,
Sure.
Yes. we should probably.
Yeah. It'll save the township money, absolutely.
And then the public records request, I did get that sent about 10 minutes before the meeting on the handicap ramp, the grant that was requested.
I have a question on that.
Mhm.
Was that not thrown back over? Did we not cancel that grant altogether?
No, it still will be,
I thought we talked about it at the one meeting because we don't vote here anymore. I thought we decided just to turn that back in. Is that not right, Mr. Price?
I didn't hear you.
The one time we were talking about the grant, didn't we say that we were going to turn that money back in because there was no reason to put a ramp here?
No. We didn't get that far.
Okay.
I wasn't in this, but what we did do is we canceled the one on the south side of the building to do the east side, but I think that if it's, I don't see any reason to have it now.
Right, okay.
so then someone needs to reach out to Tawana and update her on what we want to do.
I thought where it was left at, it got too late in the season to start the project.
Right.
No, I extended that.
No, I mean, they was gonna start,
I see.
but it got too late in the season to do the work, so they was gonna hold off till the spring.
What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead.
If the ramp that we have is sufficient, do we need to do anything to it?
No, this is a new ramp to this side here.
Yeah, because people don't, public don't usually walk through that way, they come in this side.
Are they gonna do some repair on this ramp as well?
I think it was going back and forth, but I think
Or minor repair on
minor repair on them.
the south side?
Didn't we have some plans for that we got from the company that was doing it?
Mhm.
So we can review those plans and see
Okay.
where we're at with that.
Put that down as a position.
Yeah, we'll add that to the work
Okay.
session on the 23rd. Yes, Mr.
I believe there's already a contract awarded.
That's
So I
what
think you're far beyond the plans.
Okay, because I thought at the one meeting we said, should we go ahead and cancel it because, no, just, I'm just
I
trying to.
know.
Okay.
I had further discussed this, and we talked about taking that money and redistributing it in another area,
Right.
and I don't know that.
It can only be used for handicap purposes.
See, he was gonna
I
start.
believe it was awarded to Double J Construction, if I remember the name correctly.
That is correct.
Well, yeah. All I know is, I remember that night that we talked about, because with the moving the thing, it was kind of ridiculous as us to have to send the money or the grant if we were gonna go back down to the church.
So would a trustee, if I gave you Tawana's number and email, if somebody would like to, okay,
I would
we'll get that
do
for
that.
you, Jason. then.
Thank you.
Is this door the right width to receive a wheelchair ramp?